I'm Michael Wiese. I'm 69 years old, and 9 years ago I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. I've done lipid therapy in London. I've done ayahuasca in the jungles of the Amazon. I've done stem cell treatment in Germany. And out of all of this, I've put together a regime of exercise and mental practices that I've found to be very powerful. Now, it may not work for you. Some of the things may work, some of the things may not work. But I'm going to show you a whole range of exercises and try to change your mindset about Parkinson's and what it is and what it isn't. And I hope this will be useful to you. If you or somebody that you know has Parkinson's, somebody in your family has Parkinson's, then you'll probably be very aware of these symptoms that I'm going to discuss next. I had all these symptoms about two years ago. I was bent over, I shuffled like a little old man. I felt like I was wearing a coat that had been soaked in the ocean. I mean, it was hard to move. It was hard to get in bed. It was hard to turn over. When I took a shower, it took me forever. It was difficult to dry off, to get dressed. Buttons were a nightmare. I mean, the list goes on. In terms of my work, I could no longer use the keyboard, the mouse. I couldn't play the piano. I was worried about my business and how much longer I could continue to run it. I didn't like to see people. I didn't want them to know I had Parkinson's. My right hand shook all the time. I got very depressed and I quit going out. Things took a turn for the better through a fortuitous meeting I had with Alex Curtin in a small suburb north of Tel Aviv in Israel. In a little studio I went in, I shuffled in as kind of a little old man, and 2 hours later I came out dancing. He's a martial artist with 7 black belts. He's been in the Israeli army, and he's been a jazz musician, and he's put this all together into kind of a dance therapy program. I was so impressed with Alex's work that I published a book of his techniques. It's called Goodbye Parkinson's, Hello Life, and it's chock full of exercises and other sort of psychological motivations and his encouragement. And it's been #1 on Amazon's best-selling list in its category, and we're really excited about this because people all over the world are learning about it and sharing what they've developed for themselves out of the book. So this is something you can also take a look at to supplement your physical activity. And I've practiced it over the last couple of years, and it's really changed everything. It's brought together, or I found a way to bring other things I'd learned in other places in the world into this my own private customized regime, which is what you will be seeking to do, because everybody's Parkinson's is different. I mean, it's a constellation of symptoms that come and go and change and transform and appear and reappear. And so everybody will have their own way of dealing with it. But what you're about to see is my particular way, and see if any of it makes sense to you and try some of it. One of the main keys to being successful with this is reframing. Well, first getting conscious on how you hold your Parkinson's disease, and then reframing it. I mean, what's happened to all of us is we go to the doctor, and the doctor says, "Oh, you've got Parkinson's." He said, "But the good news is that it's not a death sentence, it's a life sentence." Well, haha, very funny. What we then do is we go to Google and we Google Parkinson's disease, and we look at the YouTube videos of everybody, in decline. And we scare ourselves to death, and we study. The more we study on it, the more we learn about these symptoms, and we discover these symptoms occurring in our own bodies, and it just is a downward spiral. But it doesn't have to be. You don't have to suffer from Parkinson's. You don't have to, but you need to reframe and tell your body that not tell it the story of the decline, but the story of the rejuvenation. And so Alex likes to say that, have a say, I'm a healthy person with Parkinson's. And I started doing that, and sure enough, I became a healthy person with Parkinson's. The first thing I do when I get up is to remember to stand straight, align myself, and not to allow that Parkinsons bent over stoop to take hold. I stretch and I bring my mind into the state of being what Alex would call a Parkinson's warrior. A Parkinson's warrior is someone who actively takes responsibility for their own healing. Healing requires that we experience the nature of reality. If we think we're separate from nature and alone in the world, we're working against what is really true, and disease follows. I'm not separate from nature. I'm immersed within it. I live in the earth. It is very important to experience this and change your worldview so that it is aligned with the nature of reality. So it should be no surprise that we become sick when we are out of alignment with the natural world. I've noticed that as my health returns, the more conscious I become and the greater beauty surrounds me. The garden with its overwhelming beauty, its sacred geometry, mystery, and organic inspiration is a heaven on earth. Acknowledging and being grateful for our participation in the dance of life is a very important part of my regime. It's the mental framework that allows the miracle of the body healing itself to begin. I wash my face and splash cold water around my eyes, emphasizing my intent to see the world fresh and anew. May this day be filled with discovery, creativity, and healing. I walk slowly, becoming more aware of my breathing, the plants, flowers, and trees. I feel myself part of it all. Every day is different, so I allow my practice to also be what it wants to be. Some days I'm sluggish and really don't want to even get up. But once I do and move around for a few minutes, my vitality returns. My body may want me to do some warm-up exercises, stretching the body to the 7 directions. Stretching near a large tree, upwards toward the solar light, I become aware of the life energy flowing through everything right now. I set my mind to a place where it experiences the interconnectedness of all things. The most frustrating time for me comes when the body is off. If I try to dance when I'm rigid and my body feels like it has been filled with wet concrete, I get frustrated and the tremors increase. This creates a vicious cycle of trying to turn on, but not doing so. Sometimes the mere act of thinking to let go will turn my body back on, or as Alex says, change body forms, and focus on a small part of the body that's on, something as small and simple as rubbing 2 fingers together. And it's also okay to be off, and not exercise at all right then. Don't beat yourself up for being off. Okay, one of the first things I do when I get up is a few stretches. And I do that in the bedroom before I even, leave the house to come out outside to do the exercises. But you can do them outside if you want. My back is usually a little frozen, lower back. And so I'll do these hip movements. I'll show you some more of those later. And I'll do stretches like that. And reach out as far as I can. And this is the best one because I tend to stoop. So if I stretch and do plenty of this, actually even throughout the day, I find it helps enormously. Then it's important before you start to get your breathing going so that your breath continues to flow evenly through your body. And so I usually spend 5 or 10 minutes just breathing in and breathing out. And just becoming aware of my body and where the tension is in my body. And like now I've got some tremors, little tremors started, but I can release those by sometimes just shifting ever slightly or turning my hand over or sitting straight. So I lean down like this and then stretch up, straightening my back, and then I hold it here as I breathe. So I breathe in through my nostrils and out through my mouth. And then once I feel energized from the breathing, I go into the exercises. So it's a bit of a warm-up, and the exercises are a warm-up for the dancing, which will come later. The first one I do is a toe rise, up on your toes, and then a little bit more, and down. up, up, down, up, up, down. And I do about 15 of these. Most of these exercises I do 15 times. But if you can't do them, and you can only do a few, then just do a few. And gradually you'll be able to do more and more. This is also one that I do sometimes if I wake up in the middle of the night, my body is antsy, I'll do this exercise. The next one I do is, this is a leg swing. I hold the chair for balance, and I do 15 of these, to the left, right. And I swing it as far as I can go, and try to relax the leg. And that opens up this whole area down here. I do the other side, again 15 times. On this side of my body, it doesn't work as well as the other side, so it's a little bit more effort. I can't raise it quite as high, so I put more attention into raising it high, and I find I can do better and better. Next one is raising the leg. I start with my left, no particular reason. I raise it up as high as it'll go, kind of even with the chair top. And then I kick out and back. And I switch legs. Again, this side is a little more, needs a little more effort. And then I do warm up my knees in circles. I sit down so that I can feel some tension in my feet, my ankles. But this is really all about the knees. I'll do 15 in each direction. Carrying on with the theme of doing circles, I do my hips. This is really good for dancing. If you open up your hips, you can move a lot better. Both directions. Sometimes I hold my hands out here, it's easier to do. Or I move them like this. Really up to you. I mean, the idea is to discover areas where you're stuck and try to build new neural pathways. This is the squat. This is a killer. I find myself avoiding this one. Simply go down and up. And I let go of the chair and synchronize my breathing with the moves. In, out, in, out. I try to straighten up when I come up, otherwise I find myself stooping more and more. And I let go of the chair so that I can open up my chest area more. I do 15 of those. Those are real killer. these are my kind of optional, sometimes I forget to do these. These are like arm stretches. And I'll do 30. Reach down as far as I can. That opens the back and the shoulders. It's good for the lower back. Then there's this one, arms flip-flop, and I'll do 50 of these. Try to turn the hands all the way over. And if you do it rhythmically, it's a lot easier. And you find this is a tricky one. Yeah. Having a little trouble now doing it. So when you get stuck, you can just make another move. Shift your body, shift your attention, and try it again. And sometimes you'll find that it really opens up. I mean, some days I'm so off I can't even move. And I'll find some little area where I can move. And it's all right, don't beat yourself up if you can't move. Either if you're off, you're off. You just come back and do it later or do what you can do. And I find you can do the exercises, these exercises, when you're off. And the dancing is much harder. So I wait and do the dancing when I'm on. And then this is shoulder rise. This is good for shoulders. Or you just move them around, move them in different directions. If you can loosen up this area, then your head starts to free, then your hips start to free, and you get everything moving. Alex talks about the springs in the body. You know, as you imagine the springs in your arm, in your legs, in your tongue, in your eyebrows, in your chest, you get all these springs going. Really quite feels good. This is the, I don't know, rising out of the chair. Sit as far forward as you can on the chair without falling on the floor or falling over. Your arms are about there, and what you want to do is push up like this. You get up so your back is somewhat straight, your chest is out. You can do 15 of these. I like this one. And what's good about this one is that you can, it helps getting in and out of bed. You build up muscles that you use for climbing in bed and getting out of bed. And if you don't exercise those muscles, you find it much more difficult. Then you can also lay back and do sort of a bicycle thing. I do it in this direction as opposed to this direction. So I bring my legs toward me, keeping my feet, toes together. I do 15 of these. And with most of these exercises, I try to find how the breath syncs with it. In, out. Like that. Feet apart. I'm sure you did this in gym class. You touch your toes. Come up, arms level to the ground. The first few are always the hardest. Then you can get into a rhythm. Feel it in the waist, back. Come all the way up. Try to touch your toes. If you can't, just go as far as you can go. And don't overdo it. You want to do these so that they feel good, not so that they're a terrible chore, because then you won't do them and you won't get the benefit of the exercises. And after I do that one, I do chopping wood, I guess it's called. A little harder. You throw up your arms in sort of to the diagonal and back. Pick up the wood. Or maybe this is a chopping bit this way. And I do 8 of those, and then I do 8 on the other side. And I find this exercise informs the dancing, because sometimes I'll do a dance move that's like kind of like this. I mean, the whole idea is to explore your body, explore the moves, explore your own range of movement. Try to increase that. Try to improvise on it. I'm always adding to what I'm doing. If I get bored with something, I'll replace it with something else. And this is another one that's good to do to build up your arms for climbing in and out of bed. You can do this against the wall, or you can do just push-ups, regular push-ups, or you can use furniture to work off of. And I usually step back and stretch my hamstrings. So I feel it back here. Alex starts us out conducting as if there's an orchestra there that you're leading. This is a way to get into the music and loosen up and have a little fun with it. It's curious or interesting to know that conductors live longer than anybody else because they're exercising their heart all the time. So if you want to live a long time, become a conductor or a dancer. Now, these are the exercises that I do. You know, you can find your own. There are dozens of books, and you can Google exercises, and you see thousands and thousands of exercises, and pick ones that you think will really be useful to you. These aren't intended to be anything more than just a simple guide. They work for me, and I hope they'll work for you. Start slowly. Find a piece of slow music that you really enjoy. Listen to it and start moving. Gently at first and move into it. Don't think, just feel. That's right. Okay, can you feel it? We're gonna amp it up a bit. Okay, you ready? Ready? Here we go. Feel it. Don't think, just feel the music. Play the drums. Swing your body. Loosen up. Reach out. Let go. Good. Play air guitar. Come on with the music. Play bass guitar. Dance, move those feet. Take up space. All right, very good. Go. Many of us have experienced the frozen face that comes with Parkinson's. It's a mask-like effect that comes over our face, and it makes it difficult for us to express our emotions or through our face. People, can't interpret how we're feeling. They sometimes think that we're angry or grumpy or something, when in fact our face just isn't moving. We're not able to connect with the emotions and express them through our face. So what you've got to do is try some exercises where you just let yourself go and you get loose and you give up trying to be self-conscious and look cool and just go for it and be inventive and twist your face and sing and repeat the alphabet, or try anything you can to change your expressions, and do that for 5 minutes, and you'll be surprised how better you'll feel and how more involved you'll be in the world, because people can understand you now. I didn't like being diagnosed with Parkinson's, but there wasn't much I could do about it. And then I thought, well, maybe there is. And so I found this many different practices, some of which I've shared with you today, that really benefited my life and alleviated about 40 to 60% of my symptoms. And thanks to Alex Curtin and his book, Goodbye Parkinson's, Hello Life, I've been deepening this exploration. And I know that you can too. Also, it's important to have a good caregiver and a family around you that supports you. And my wife Geraldine has certainly done that for me. And so, in closing, I'd like to wish you much success on your quest for healing. I hope that this little video that we've done serves you in that way, and that you start improving in every way. Let us hear from you. I used to play drums and I used to really enjoy it. When Parkinson's came along, I learned that I couldn't do it. And sure enough, I couldn't do it. And I realized I was telling myself a story and living out that story. And I said, this is ridiculous. So I bought myself this electronic set of drums that I play in the shed. And sure enough, after about a month, I could play all the patterns that I had always played and was actually playing new patterns. So whatever you think you can't do, you're inhibiting yourself from doing it. So take the challenge, go out there, reclaim your life, reclaim the things you like to do. Yeah, don't let it beat you. You can win this thing.